He doesn't like the spotlight. He doesn't like to be honored in ways that he deserves it. I'm Ashton Freeman. I was one of Mr. Fuller's students from 2003, 2004, 2005, and 2006. And then I was lucky enough to be his colleague for a couple of years when I taught at Soddy. He can teach a group of kids how to care. I remember saying something like, his passions are our passions, and that hasn't changed. I said that I think over 15 years ago. Nothing has changed. He will teach you how to care about something, and that lays the foundation for everything. I think some people would say he cares too much, but that's what makes him a good teacher. That bleeds into everything that he does. Every idea, every good thing I ever did in teaching has or had his fingerprint on it. An influx of letters as a teacher always comes into you at the end of the year. And to see those letters that kids write, you were the best teacher I've ever had. You taught me so much. You're like a second dad to me. Kids always want to come back and show him what he can be proud of. His impact always speaks for itself.
We did orientation, and so my dad took me, and I remember going to Mr. Fuller's room. It was like painted like Romeo and Juliet, and I remember noticing that he had like tattoos, and I was like, a teacher with tattoos. I was like, immediately, he's probably cool. And he talked a little bit about how he's in the Navy, and so I was like, oh, so he might be kind of like a hard at it, like I was a little intimidated. Well, then as you get to know him and like how he talks about Romeo and Juliet and like the way he teaches, it's like so soft and beautiful, like from this guy that was in the Navy. I'm Stormy. I had Mr. Fuller my freshman year of high school, and he's also my homebound teacher in 2013, and then also a little bit in 2014 as well. In 2013, I found out that I was pregnant. I had some complications, and they're like, had to pull me out of school. So we really didn't know how I was going to finish high school, but Mr. Fuller knew me, and I think he knew like what I was capable of as a student. And so he offered to be my homebound teacher, and it made me feel normal. He cares about his students as a person and not as a grade. Like, this is not an A/B student. This is not a C- student. Like, this is Stormy. Like, what can I do to better her life? But he made me feel like I had things worth striving for, like goals worth achieving. Like, I'll always remember that about him. He makes Soddy Daisy a better place. He helps these students. He helps the people. So he is so deserving.
The only thing that surprises me is it hasn't happened already, and the fact that it's not called the Trevor Fuller Hall of Fame. My name is Rick Bauer, and I've been friends with Trevor for about 30 years. I served with him in Desert Shield and Desert Storm while in the Navy. Trevor and I both served at Amphibious Construction Battalion 1 together. He was on the boat crews, and I was a mechanic. And so we ended up always working out, being on the same boats together. Right off the bat, the first time that I saw Trevor, he's just one of those guys that absolutely draws people to him. You knew he was just somebody that really had a big impact on everybody. Probably one of the biggest compliments that I can give him as far as our military service together, and it's critically important, is that you always have to be able to rely on the other guy. And with Trevor, there was never a doubt that he was going to be there. He did his part, made sure that you were taken care of. I mean, from a technical and a professional standpoint, he was just on par. He was very well decorated. He always brung his A game. Oh, he'll bust your chops without a doubt, but he always said something meaningful. You knew he knew who you were. He just has respect, and everybody respects him. I haven't really met any of his students, maybe like one or two in passing really quickly, but for the most part, I get the side of the picture from him. And to see how he feels, I can't tell you how many times he's told me, I just got to get back to teaching. I got to get back to my students, my kids. I got to get back to the Fuller kids. And it's just something that permeates through everything that he does. And it really does. It's impressive. And as his friend, I'm absolutely proud to know him and know he's that kind of a person. You surround yourself with good people. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no better people than Trevor Fuller.
Congratulations, Mr. Fuller. No one deserves it more than you.
I can't think of another teacher. I really can't. I mean, that has had the impact on kids that he has.
Knowing what I know about him, if my children were in school, I would absolutely find another job, relocate, do whatever I could to have him be an influence in my children's lives. You spend 5 minutes with the guy, and you know that not only does he belong in the Teaching Hall of Fame, in this, he belongs in the People Hall of Fame. He is just that kind of a guy.